Hello, friends. This is Eric, the Mind Control Guy. Um, Earlier today, I was going to watch Dark Outpost, um, internet radio show that I'm on from time to time. And they had a guest on that I have all the respect in the world for. A man by the name of Travis Walton. Mr. Walton's claim to fame is a horrifying experience. Back in 1975, Mr. Walton was with a logging crew in Snowflake, Arizona. And something came out of the sky. Big light. He went to go, ran out there to get a better view, check out what it was. A tractor beam came from what appeared to be an off world craft. And then Mr. Walton disappeared for 5 days. And of course, you have the trolls out there that like to hurl mud at his story. And I'm convinced, like millions of others, that Mr. Walton's story is dead on true. Absolutely true. Just like Betty and Barney Hills and countless other lesser known stories. I had to turn the show off because I could not listen to Mr. Walton's story, who I heard a long time ago, before I started to get my memory back of all that horrible stuff that happened to myself and many others, many other troops when I was in the service many years ago. This coming July will be 36 years that I got out. And some things are starting to bother me more now than they did back then. The reason I could not listen to Mr. Travis Walton retell his story, as he's done so many times over the years, is because a couple of projects that happened when I was in the service that myself, as well as others, were used for test subjects. This wasn't the mind altering research study, also known as a mind altering reprogramming study. Now, this was different, this was separate. In September of 1985, 20 of us were used over at Mach City, which was a, uh, a place that was supposed to be a simulated urban environment where the infantry or the special forces or the Delta Force were used in they used that area for urban warfare training. But this particular time, myself and 19 others were taken out there, test subjects. And of course, under all the stuff they gave us, we didn't know we were there. This particular test or project, whatever you want to call it, was called Dark Days. It wasn't an acronym, that's just what they called it. There are interests I used to have before I started to get my memory back. Countless memories, many memories. Uh, the older I get, sometimes the harder it is to deal with. As people know, there are certain words or phrases or sounds or pictures or images that can, what they say today, can trigger somebody. And I am no different, especially with my background. Words that I do not use anymore. Um, Trigger words, you might call them. Uh, might call it the A word. The A word, you can use your own imagination. And the three letters that describe a flying vessel that is not from this earth. I don't use those. I don't want to. Those are what I call my trigger words of multiple trigger words. I don't like to say them anymore. I don't like to hear them because what it causes. I refer to as MOP, MOP. It stands for memories of pain. Without getting the visual memories of the things that actually happened, I just get the pain of the experience. Dark days, what that was many of us, many of us older people. Uh, there was a radio broadcast decades ago called War of the Worlds, which was a play, and people thought it was the real thing because they tuned in too late. They thought it was a real broadcast of a invasion from somewhere out there of off-worlders. That's the term I use instead of saying the A word. I refer to them as off-worlders or pilots of off-world flying vessels. I don't like that other three-lettered or three letters that describe those three words. You know what I'm talking about. So dark days took place for 2 or 3 days over at Mock City. Simulated invasion, and they had all the goodies. They had all the goodies. Virtual reality, holographic images, just like we've been hearing a lot about. They could very well this year, maybe next year, possibly this year, who knows when, about Project Bluebeam, a simulated War of the Worlds, a simulated off-world invasion to this planet. Who was it? Henry Kissinger said, all we need is the right crisis and the people will accept the New World Order. In many of their projects and tests, that's what Dark Days was. A simulated invasion over at Mock City. And they had all the goodies. Years ago when I was getting my memory back, this was about in sometime, I want to say in 2005. I was at a tavern over in Kentucky with the lady I lived with at the time, and her brother was working at this tavern. And there was a band playing there. They played pretty good music. They said, "Come down and see the band." Well, I didn't drink. I had quit drinking years before. And so, no problem. I can drink water, soda pop, whatever, listen to the band. When the band wasn't playing, they had music from the jukebox or whatever they had. And anyway, they had lights up above that shined down. But it wasn't like regular lights, it was blue and green, and they crisscrossed, spinning around. I saw that and I just started coming unraveled inside. Why? It was memories of that project, Dark Days. Well, I don't remember the specifics of what actually went on, and I don't want to. Because I know just those two words, the A word and the universal term for off world craft. Now, what happens to me when I hear those words, I just start coming unraveled inside. There was 20 of us who were selected for this project. Only lasted for, like, say, 2 or 3 days. Big test. 20 of us. 17 of us came out of it like nothing happened, except shortly thereafter, 7 of them started remembering what right away, or shortly thereafter started remembering what happened. When the test was over, they were fine. But then they started remembering because the stuff they gave them didn't work as well as it should have. And those seven troops ended up institutionalized. Don't know the details, don't know the specifics. That's what I was told. 3 of them, as a result of that project, died. Died when it happened. Stuff didn't work on them. They came out of their sedative state. Oh yeah, you can function, but you have no conscious awareness of what's going on. They came out of that unawareness and became aware, and they thought it was all real. You've heard the term scared to death. 10 of us didn't regain our memories, from what I was told. We didn't regain our memories, and we came out of it just like nothing ever happened. 7 ended up institutionalized, and 3 died in testing. And their families get told fairy tales about what happened to them. The other project had a very sinister project name, and it was an acronym. Went on for 3 years, from 83 to 86, as I was told. And I was in it the last part, from what I was told. The name of that project was called Dark Satan. Pretty sinister name. The A word is mentioned there, so I will say it for the purposes of this video, but I don't make a habit of it. That project, Dark Satan, what it stood for was this: Defense against remote kidnappers with simulated advanced training in alien negotiations. What could that possibly be? Part of it, all simulation, all virtual reality, all set up, all the goodies that black budget money could buy. Part of it was you were believed in your mind, you believed you were what, as I refer to as an owl, off-world liaison. You were supposed to be a go-between with off-worlders, what you believed were off-worlders, and military, heads of state, that kind of thing. It was all simulation. It was all this project, all this test. You believed that you were an owl, an off-world liaison. The other part of that project, defense against remote kidnappers. We've all heard these sayings, or not sayings, but we've all heard these tales of these little gray guys come walking through people's walls, taking people out, doing God knows what kind of experiments on them, getting their DNA for whatever reason. "65 troops were used as test subjects, as I was told, from 1983 to 1986, all told. 65 test subjects. As I was told, 28 of us came out of it like nothing ever happened. 25 ended up brain fried, ended up in institutions, and 12 died in testing. I don't know what they did. I don't want to remember what they did. I don't need that. Whenever I'm listening to Coast to Coast or any other show, Dark Outpost, name one. Whenever I'm listening to these interesting shows, and the topic comes up, they want to talk about the off-worlders. Of course, they use the A word. Or they want to talk about off-world flying vessels. And that's the other 3 letters. Starts with a U. I have to turn it off. I can't. I can't mentally handle it anymore. I cannot afford to have those vaults in my head unlocked. I don't want them unlocked. For those of you who have never experienced what I've experienced, or what Mr. Travis Walton experienced, or Betty and Barney Hill, or any number of people, if you've never experienced it, you'll never know the horror. You'll never know the terror. You'll never know the pain. And be thankful that you've never experienced Mr. Travis Walton experience, or Betty and Barney Hill. What I went through and the others, that was all simulation. But to us, it was real. But in the one project, 25 ended up in institutions, brain fried. 12 died. In the other project, after it was all over, 7 got their memory back, ended up institutionalized. 3 died in the test. Some people want to dig and dig and dig. People who have blank spots, people who have missing time. No matter what the experience is, people want to know, want to know, want to know. I was there. I used to be there. I was that person. Until I started unlocking vaults I wished I'd never unlocked. For those that want to know, all I say is be careful what you dig for, because you might just find it. And you may end up inadvertently opening that vault in your head that you may not be able to close back up. Be careful what you dig for. That vault in your head is sealed for very good reasons. Part of it protecting you. It's protecting others, sure, and they're the activity that never should have happened, but it's also protecting you. You don't need to remember. Just like a lady who has been violated. She doesn't need to remember that. She doesn't want to remember that. There are days I wish I had my own neuralizer where I could just erase it all and never ever knew that it ever happened. Unfortunately, I don't have one of those. I tried to go to the VA, turned their back on me. I tried the DAV, they told me I was SOL. So now I just live with it. So anyway, I needed to get this off my chest. Whenever there's radio topics, TV topics, whatever talking about, as I call the A word, but I refer to them as off-worlders or their off-world craft rather than using those other three words. Because that A word and the other word cause triggers in here, and I just come unraveled inside. I don't want that. So for all those who want to find their missing time, they want to unblock their memories, be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you dig for, because you might just find it. And you may find that the pain, that the memories are more than you can handle. Thank you for listening. This is Eric, the Mind Control Guy, signing off.